On a windswept morning, in a forgotten strait, the world watched as an empire's might began to truly unravel. The roar of cannons, the acrid scent of powder, a thunderous symphony of steel and fire began its terrible performance. Flames devoured mighty vessels, once symbols of power. A fleet, an empire's proud gamble, was being unceremoniously annihilated. And when the terrible storm passed, the silence that followed spoke of an impossible, unbelievable, crushing defeat. We speak of losses, of battles won and lost. But some defeats defy simple understanding. They echo through time. Consider this: a naval battle, a clash of giants. One side, utterly shattered, its dreams sunken below the waves. Of nearly 40 Russian warships that set sail, only 3 insignificant vessels made it to their intended destination. 21 sunk, 7 captured, an astonishing tally that speaks of complete and utter, catastrophic obliteration. And the human cost? Thousands of brave sailors, over 6,000 souls, taken captive, their war abruptly ended. Now, imagine the other side, the victors. Their total loss of life in this same brutal engagement: 117. 6,000 captured, against barely over 100 lost. The numbers are almost impossible to truly comprehend, aren't they? This wasn't just a battle. It was a humiliation so profound it shook the very foundations of a global empire. Russia, a colossal power, vast and formidable. How could such a giant fall so dramatically, so completely? What forces converged there, in that narrow strait, to orchestrate such a one-sided, catastrophic naval smash? It wasn't merely firepower. It was a confluence of desperation, strategy, and an unimaginable epic journey's end. For decades, the world had seen naval might as the ultimate measure of imperial strength. This changed everything. The reverberations echoed far beyond the waves, igniting fires within a simmering empire, desperate for immediate change. This is the story of Tsushima, 1905. A moment when history turned, sharply, unexpectedly, and with great sorrow. It is a tale of human courage, folly, and the relentless, unforgiving nature of fate's grand, intricate design. We'll delve into the choices, the whispers in corridors, the desperate gambles that led to this overwhelming outcome. Join me, if you will, as we unravel this profound story, to feel its true weight and understand its meaning. A naval smash that humbled an empire, leaving lessons etched deeply, quietly, into the very heart of history. The world, at the dawn of a new century, felt a tremor, a quiet shift beneath ancient stones. Old empires stirred, but new ones rose, their hearts beating with iron and fire. Ambitions stretched across oceans, each nation dreaming of a larger, bolder tomorrow. And then there was Russia, a colossal empire, a sleeping giant awakening slowly. Its heart beat in St. Petersburg, a land of ancient grandeur, yearning for more warmth. From icy north to sunlit south, its reach was immense, its hunger boundless, always pushing. For generations, the dream of a warm water port had whispered through its vast corridors. Far to the east, Japan emerged, a phoenix from ashes, embracing a new, potent future. From isolation, it learned swiftly, adapting, building, proving itself on the global stage. A small island nation, yes, but its spirit was vast, its ambition burning bright now. They sought their own destiny, their own sphere, a firm place among the world's great powers. Between these two giants lay Manchuria and Korea, lands of untold wealth and strategic depth. They were crossroads, gateways to power, tempting prizes for hungry, expanding empires. Control here meant dominance, a lifeline for trade, a bulwark against encroaching rivals. Two empires, two visions, converging on these lands, their fates intertwined there. Whispers turned to demands, polite requests to hardened stances, shadows lengthened everywhere. Each side felt slighted, misunderstood. A simmering resentment began to boil over slowly. The air grew heavy with unspoken threats. A silent challenge echoed across the vast sea. Diplomacy faltered, conversations ceased, The fragile peace slipped through desperate, clutching fingers. Then, the night of February 8th, 1904, a flash of steel, a world forever changed. Japan struck first, decisively, shattering the fragile dawn, declaring its resolute defiance. The war began, not with grand declarations, but with sudden, shocking, impactful blows. Port Arthur, Russia's prized eastern fortress, became the war's immediate, crucial focal point. Their Pacific fleet, once a symbol of might, found itself confined, a caged lion. Japanese forces encircled the port, tightening their grip. Day by agonizing day, drawing closer, hope dwindled with each passing week, the harsh reality of their isolation settling deeply. The once proud fleet withered. Battered by shells, its strength slowly, painfully eroded there. Far away, in St. Petersburg, a desperate plan began to form, born of utter necessity. To save the fleet, to save face, Russia had but one unthinkable, audacious choice left. They would send another fleet, an entire armada, on a journey unlike any seen before. The echoes of war, distant yet profound, had begun to settle over an empire. A heavy silence often presaged a storm. They searched for answers in their despair, their grasp slipping. What hope remained, they desperately sought it. The weight of failure pressed down heavily. Decisions made in desperation often carve the harshest paths forward. The empire, once mighty, now felt the tremor of its foundations. A desperate gamble seemed their only recourse. Across the vastness of their lands, a whisper began to stir. A fleet, long slumbering, was to awaken. Their Pacific fleet was wounded, broken. Hope, a fragile ember, now rested upon an impossible dream. The war's bitter tide had turned. A desperate, last effort was all that remained for the Tsar. The idea, born of extreme necessity, was audacious. It demanded a sacrifice few could even comprehend, a monumental decision, whispered at first, then shouted in urgency. The die was about to be cast. The empire, reeling from blows, now staked its very soul. A desperate order echoed across the land. They gathered weary men, their faces etched with the nation's burden. An impossible voyage was conceived. The Baltic Fleet, all of it, to travel where no fleet had dared before. A colossal undertaking. The Emperor's resolve, born of dire straits, was set. Their grand navy would sail to rescue fate. 18,000 miles. A distance that truly tested the human spirit, stretching belief and endurance. These iron giants, proud symbols of power, were now tasked with an odyssey beyond measure, their fate sealed. The men, many green, some grizzled, felt the gravity. An untold story, both hopeful and heartbreaking, began. From the cold, familiar waters of Europe, they would venture towards an unknown, perilous destiny. Their course was charted, unwavering, a journey into the vast, indifferent expanse of the world's oceans. At its helm, Admiral Zinovy Rozhestvensky, a man of iron will, burdened by an impossible command. He knew the odds, the immense task before him. A general's grim resolve in the face of certain doom. The journey itself was a formidable foe, not just enemies, but the relentless, unforgiving ocean itself. Every morsel, every drop, accounted for. Sustaining a fleet on the world's longest, most desperate voyage. A monumental procession, a floating city. 18,000 miles awaited their arduous, fated journey. From the Baltic's chill to the distant, sun-baked Pacific. A truly unimaginable distance for their era. Days bled into weeks, weeks into months. The vast ocean became their relentless, demanding home. This was their empire's last roll of the dice. A desperate gamble for salvation, a final, fervent prayer. They hoped against hope, defying all reason. A final, desperate effort to turn the war's cruel tide. The point of no return. With each turn of the screw, they sailed deeper into destiny's unforgiving maw. The great fleet, under a heavy sky, began its long, lonely journey. A silent farewell to the known world. They vanished over the horizon, carrying a nation's hope, fear, and ultimate tragic destiny with them. They departed, a vast armada, hopes of an empire heavy on their steel shoulders. A long, unknown journey began. Each man carried the burden of expectation, the weight of Russia's pride upon his shoulders. Their destiny awaited. The world stretched before them, boundless and unforgiving. Home became a fleeting memory, already so far away. Their initial momentum, a powerful surge of purpose, carried them onward. But the oceans are vast, demanding much. From the Baltic's chill, across continents and oceans, their route unfolded, an odyssey of impossible scale. The hungry beasts of steam demanded coal, an insatiable appetite. Stokers toiled ceaselessly, a fiery, dusty hell. Coaling at sea was a brutal, grimy ballet. Every lump a struggle, every transfer a test of endurance. In exposed waters, battling swells and wind, they wrestled coal. The elements conspired against their weary hands. Every surface, every breath, became imbued with coal dust, a constant, gritty reminder of their endless task. Hands grew raw, backs ached, spirits began to dim. The sheer physical toll mounted with each passing day. The magnificent machines, built for battle, began to falter. Exhaustion and strain showed their true, costly nature. Small failures, one after another, whispered of deeper troubles. The fleet was fraying at the edges. Make-do repairs, often insufficient, consumed precious time and hope. They pushed onward, against mounting odds. Tropical sun beat down relentlessly, baking the steel, sapping strength. Relief seemed an impossible dream. Days blurred into weeks, then months. The vast ocean became a monotonous prison, endless and unforgiving. Time, once a fleeting companion, now dragged its weary feet. Each moment stretched into an eternity. Thoughts drifted to faraway homes, faces unseen, love unshared. Loneliness, a constant, silent passenger, grew. Storms rose, testing hulls and spirits alike. The ocean reminded them, harshly, of its immense power. Below decks, chaos reigned. Sleep became a luxury, impossible to grasp amidst the ceaseless, violent rocking. From searing heat to bitter cold, the elements offered no mercy. Their bodies endured, but spirits faltered. Navigation, once a science, became a daily struggle. Every turn of the globe brought new, unforeseen challenges. The North Sea, a veil of mist, obscured their path. Shadows began to dance, playing tricks on weary minds. Tension mounted, an unspoken dread filling the air. Every whisper of wind carried foreboding weight. Then, a phantom appeared from the swirling mist. Fear, swift and brutal, gripped every waking soul. Confusion reigned. Brother fired on brother, tragically. The night dissolved into a terrifying, unforgivable nightmare. Innocent lives, caught in the crossfire, shattered. The cold North Sea bore witness to needless, profound tragedy. Realization dawned, stark and horrifying. A catastrophic error, a stain upon their already fragile journey. The world reacted with fury. Diplomacy frayed. Accusations flew like angry, stinging hornets. A heavy cost. Admiral Rozhestvensky, burdened with command, faced scorn. His fleet now a pariah, unwanted, universally condemned. They were hunted, shadowed by a furious power. The weight of international incident pressed down heavily. Whispers spread, fear like a contagion, through the ranks. What awaited them at their final, distant destination? Months bled into more months. The sheer scale of time at sea began to warp their very perception. Rations grew sparse, freshness a forgotten dream. Sustenance became a means to endure, not to thrive. Bodies thinned, strength waned. The endless voyage etched itself onto their very flesh, a cruel testament. Hygiene became a luxury, cleanliness a distant memory. A gradual decay set in, both external and internal. Desperate diversions, fleeting moments of escape, offered scant relief. Boredom was a relentless, quiet tormentor. Tempers flared, arguments simmered. The constant confinement, the shared misery, chipped away at composure. Sickness spread, a silent predator in the cramped quarters. Health, like hope, became a precious, dwindling resource. The ocean claimed its own, sadly. Each burial at sea, a somber ritual, deepened the collective despair. Every face told a story of profound hardship. The human cost of this epic journey was becoming painfully clear. Their once pristine hulls, now fouled and slow, reflected their internal state. A weariness settled deep. Faith became a desperate anchor, a whisper in the storm. For some, it was all that remained. Ahead lay the unknown, shrouded in mists of dread. A destiny, grim and unyielding, awaited them all. The magnificent dream of empire now felt like a curse. They steamed towards an uncertain, terrifying confrontation. Years of peace, then a journey of untold hardship. The ships and the souls within were utterly weary. Each wave brought them closer, yet also wore them down, eroding hope, one relentless, salty breath. Inside these iron beasts, conditions worsened. Sickness spread like a shadow, quietly claiming strength from weary men. The great engines groaned, protesting every mile. Wear and tear, relentless, chipped away at their very function. Even among the commanders, a heavy silence settled. The enormity of their task felt crushing, almost insurmountable now. Coal, precious lifeblood of these titans, dwindled. Each scoop, a stark reminder of desperately dwindling essential resources. Some ships couldn't bear the strain. Broken, they became a heavy burden, a symbol of their failing long journey. Admiral Rossistvensky felt the weight of an empire. A mission perhaps doomed, yet he was bound to press on. Then, a chilling message began to unfurl across the waves, carried by the wind and stark signal flags. Port Arthur had fallen. The news hit like a hammer blow, shattering the fragile remnants of their remaining purpose. A collective gasp of despair. The port, their intended destination, the very reason for this epic voyage, was lost. The very heart of their mission, to relieve the besieged port, now lay cold and dead. What remained then? He knew, perhaps deep down, their colossal effort might be in vain. The strategic objective, now tragically gone. Yet, the orders from distant St. Petersburg remained unyielding. Push forward, no matter the terrible cost. So, they pressed on. A ghost fleet, sailing towards a destiny that increasingly felt like an inevitable, tragic end. Far to the east, under a different sun, another navy waited. Calm, focused, and utterly prepared for destiny. This was Admiral Heihachiro Togo, a man of quiet strength, whose mind moved like the silent currents. For months, he meticulously planned every detail, every possible move, every single contingency for the coming conflict. His crews, unlike their weary counterparts, were honed. A sharp edge forged through relentless, grueling practice and resolve. Day after day, the gunners practiced. Precision, speed, and unerring accuracy were their unwavering, absolute goals. Below decks, engineers kept the hearts of their ships beating strong. Every bolt, every gauge, perfectly tended. The ships themselves were finely tuned instruments. Every flaw rectified, every weakness strengthened, every system optimized, ready. Explosive power, meticulously prepared, was stowed deep within, a silent promise of the fury they could unleash. His strategy was bold, not just to defeat, but to utterly annihilate the approaching, unsuspecting Russian fleet. He anticipated their path, their weary passage through a specific, unavoidable point. The trap was masterfully forming, and there it was. The Tsushima Strait, a natural choke point, a maritime funnel, unavoidable for the Russian journey. Here, Togo's fleet would lie in wait, unseen, unheard, ready to spring their meticulously planned ambush. Patience was paramount. They watched, they waited, for the inevitable approach of the exhausted, unsuspecting enemy fleet. Even in the tense hours before, routines continued. A calm preparation, a quiet resolve, settled within each man. Togo understood the immense stakes. His planning, his people, his nation, all hinged on this one great moment. Every drill, every practiced maneuver, every calculated move, now built towards this singular, decisive confrontation. Meanwhile, the Russian ships lumbered on, oblivious to the finely woven web of steel and strategy awaiting them. Each gun, each torpedo tube, was a silent guardian, a coiled spring, ready to unleash its destructive power. The battle plan was ingrained, understood by every man. Each knew his precise role, his task, his duty. The strait itself seemed to hold its breath, a silent witness to the collision of two very different destinies. They rested, not in idleness, but in anticipation, a peaceful calm before the storm they knew must come. Time, that relentless river, carried both fleets towards their inescapable meeting, their fated, terrible final embrace. Every eye scanned the horizon, every ear strained for the distant rumble, the first whisper of their approach. The Russians, exhausted and increasingly hopeless, merely sought passage. They had no idea what truly awaited. Their nation's honor, their very future, rested upon these meticulously prepared ships and these resolute men. Togo's trap was set, a grand, intricate design, patiently woven, ready to snap shut with terrible finality. The stage was prepared. The silence, deep and profound, was merely holding its breath for the coming storm. They were a fist, clenched and ready, a testament to preparation, resolve, and a fierce, unyielding national will. Two paths, two destinies, converging. The naval smash that would humiliate an empire was now truly at hand. The world held its breath in the pre-dawn mist, a veil over the brewing storm, history's stage. Then, a flicker on the horizon, a phantom shape emerging from the grey, signaling destiny's arrival. The mist lifted, not entirely, but enough to reveal what fate had meticulously arranged that morning. Admiral Togo, calm and collected, saw not just ships, but the fragile balance of empires at stake. Before him, his fleet, a steel serpent, moved with a grace born of endless practice and unwavering trust. Across the waters, the Russian fleet, weary and disorganized, trudged towards its tragic, inevitable appointment. Imagine their hearts, heavy with the journey, now facing the full, terrifying might of a prepared enemy. That morning, the air crackled with more than just the sea salt. It hummed with the weight of history. The distance closed slowly, each passing minute stretching into an eternity of anticipation for everyone present. Then Togo's signal, simple yet profound. The fate of the empire depends on this battle. Slowly, deliberately, a masterful stroke began to unfold, a ballet of steel and calculated risk. Togo's daring crossing the T maneuver was a gamble, but one meticulously planned and brilliantly executed. Suddenly, for the Russians, the world tilted. Their enemy now presented a terrifying, unyielding wall of guns. A cold dread must have gripped them then, realizing the deadly embrace they had unknowingly sailed into. And then, the thunder broke. The first salvos ripped through the quiet, tearing at the very air. These were not ordinary shells. They were harbingers of destruction, filled with a new kind of terror. Each impact was a shuddering blow, ripping through steel, igniting fires, bringing unimaginable chaos aboard. The air filled with smoke, the acrid smell of burning, and the desperate cries of men caught in hell. The Japanese gunners, faster and impossibly accurate, unleashed a storm of iron and fire without mercy. Ship after ship became a funeral pyre, consumed by the relentless, all-encompassing fury of high-explosive shells. Admiral Rozhdestvensky, a man of courage, stood amidst the inferno, trying to command the uncontrollable. But fate is cruel. A brutal blast struck him down, silencing his commands, crippling his spirit. Aboard the Russian ships, brave men fought fires and shrapnel, their heroism a whisper against the gale. The mighty Times Knyaz Suvorov asterisk, symbol of Russian pride, was becoming an unsalvageable, burning wreck. The Japanese, unyielding, continued their deadly symphony, a mechanical dance of steel and unsparing fire. Each shell fired was a brutal punctuation mark, in a story of naval superiority, meticulously earned. The once calm strait was now a hellscape, a graveyard of dreams and a testament to military might. Beneath the smoke, men struggled in the icy water, their desperate pleas swallowed by the roaring chaos. Their world had shattered, replaced by the chilling reality of utter defeat, painted in fire. The flagship suffered blow after devastating blow, a testament to its crew's doomed, relentless fight. Even the smaller craft, like hungry wolves, moved in for the kill, finishing what the battleships began. The ocean itself seemed to recoil as another ship slipped beneath the waves, taking its crew. The proud symbols of an empire now lay scattered, broken, dissolving into the unforgiving depths. Even in victory, a silence fell upon some, a quiet recognition of the terrible cost of glory. The smoke became a monstrous monument, drifting across the sea, visible for miles, whispering of disaster. Even the distant shore must have felt the tremors, the echoes of that unimaginable cataclysmic clash. One by one, they succumbed, their great hulls sliding beneath the waves, carrying hopes and dreams. Togo surveyed the scene, a grim satisfaction perhaps, but also the profound, heavy burden of command. What remained of the Russian fleet, scattered, a desperate, futile flight from the jaws of annihilation. The pursuit was swift, merciless, leaving no doubt about the overwhelming scale of the Japanese victory. As the sun began to set, it painted the sky red, a haunting echo of the day's terrible sacrifice. The once proud armada was no more, replaced by the silence of the sea, now a watery grave. A single cap drifts, a quiet testament to lost souls and the crushing humiliation of a vast empire. Tsushima Strait, forever changed, whispered its solemn secret to the incoming tide, a story etched in water. As darkness fell, the pursuit began. No respite, only the relentless chase across the unforgiving, restless waves. Through the long, cold night, battle's echoes lingered, a haunting whisper on the wind, never truly fading entirely. Dawn's cruel light painted a desolate canvas. The sea, once vibrant, now held shattered dreams and sorrowful promises. The victors, unyielding, pressed their advantage. No hesitation remained, only cold, hard logic and overwhelming force. For those who suffered, no mercy. Only the grim, silent determination to finish what was relentlessly started. The grand formation, once power's symbol, now fractured beyond repair, like glass upon an indifferent, vast ocean. Then, a small white flag, a weary breath, a shattered dream, the first sign of an impossible choice. One by one they appeared. White flags of surrender, fluttering like fragile wings against the vast, humbling sky. Their mighty cannons, once roaring, now lay silent, impotent against the overwhelming force that truly surrounded them. The burden of command, unbearable. A captain's heart, heavy with defeat, made the hardest final decision. Weary souls, exhausted beyond measure, their hope extinguished. The fight left them empty, only sorrow remained. One after another, the defeated armada yielded, a stark procession of humbled giants, their long journey ending. Some, with a flicker of desperate hope, tried to outrun fate. But the ocean held few secrets. Across smoky horizons, a forlorn hope. The vast sea offered no refuge from relentless, unforgiving pursuit. Rather than surrender, some chose the ocean's embrace, a captain's final act of defiance, so profound. The sea, a silent accomplice, swallowed them, the ship's proud heart filled with cold, dark water. The ocean, indifferent to human folly, silently claimed its due. Another vessel swallowed by the vast deep. As the sun climbed higher, battle's dust settled. The somber task of counting the true cost began. 21 proud ships, now resting eternally beneath waves. A profound silence where once their guns thundered. 7 were taken, prizes of crushing victory. Their fate, once their own, now belonged truly to another. 6 found tenuous refuge in neutral harbors, disarmed. Their long voyage halted, dreams forever anchored there. From 38, Only 3 insignificant vessels limped home. A mere whisper of what was. A ghost. The magnitude of defeat. A story whispered by the sea. An empire humbled, its power shattered forever. The smoke cleared, revealing a silence deeper than any cannon roar. A heavy sigh across an empire. Indeed. Dispatches arrived, each word a hammer blow to imperial might. The fracturing truth became utterly inescapable now. The Tsar, in his gilded cage, felt tremors. A distant, crushing defeat resonated deep within his imperial soul. Whispers of discontent swelled into a rumble across vast Russia. A profound, collective breaking point undeniably neared. Humiliation cornered them. The proud empire now considered the unthinkable, humbly pleading for an arduous peace. Across the ocean, Roosevelt, with a steady hand, offered to broker fragile peace between these warring giants. In a small American town, worlds converged. It became the quiet, unlikely stage for history's immense turning. For Russian delegates, each step was a painful descent, a journey into acknowledged, public, imperial shame. Japan's representatives carried a silent, hard-won triumph, yet profound, respectful dignity marked their every move. The pens moved, ending conflict. They also marked a profound, unyielding, undeniable shift in global power. Tsushima's shattering echoes reverberated. The empire's profound, undeniable fragility lay completely exposed to all. The catastrophic defeat became a stark, undeniable catalyst. It fueled a deep, simmering resentment among all. The seeds of revolution, long planted, found desperate ground. A profound, unstoppable storm was surely gathering. Bloody Sunday, amplified, now fueled an unstoppable demand. Radical change became not a hope, but a necessity. A nation's cry erupted. The 1905 revolution was no ripple. It was a profound, seismic, undeniable wave. Under immense pressure, the Tsar conceded. Yet, these reforms proved far too little, tragically too late. While Russia convulsed, Japan emerged, quietly, powerfully. A new sun was indeed rising in the east. Tsushima cemented Japan's standing. They were now a formidable, undeniable, global power, respected worldwide. A non-European nation decisively defeated an empire. The old world order profoundly trembled, forever changed. This was more than a battle. It was a profound declaration. An Asian power awakened, asserting its rightful place. Tsushima offered a compelling, inspiring blueprint for other nations, yearning for true, independent sovereignty. The world had changed irrevocably. Tsushima's waves would shape future events for decades, deeply, profoundly. And so, Tsushima's echoes remind us how one devastating moment can forever alter the course of empires. The waves recede, but the echoes of Tsushima ripple through the very fabric of naval history still. Naval strategists across the world studied that day, lessons etched deep into their minds and plans. The all-big-gun battleship doctrine wasn't just an idea. Tsushima solidified its absolute truth. From that moment, the path for capital ship design was irrevocably altered, a new age born. Speed, they realized, wasn't merely an advantage. It became a crucial, non-negotiable component for survival. Concentrated firepower, a devastating hammer blow, proved its undeniable crushing supremacy on the seas. Beyond steel and powder, superior crew training emerged as the unseen, vital bedrock of victory. Tsushima became the silent blueprint, shaping naval warfare design and strategy for decades to come. Empires raced to build their fleets, each new vessel whispering the hard-won truths of that distant strait. Even as technology evolved, the core principles of speed, fire, and training resonated through generations. The battleship era eventually waned, yet Tsushima's lessons never truly faded from memory. For the souls who fought, the silent lessons remain. A profound, personal testament to human cost. Tsushima, a battle of steel and strategy, continues to teach us about human endeavor and consequence. If this story touched you, please share your thoughts. Like, subscribe, and join our ongoing journey.